When I was in the seminary preparing to become a priest, one of the most important areas that me and my brother seminarians had to grow in was our prayer life. We had to discipline ourselves in order to cultivate a healthy habit of prayer. Prayer had to become not just one of my priorities, but my top priority. Now, as a priest, there are so many things coming at me. There are many demands on my time, and I often find myself feeling pulled in many different directions, a feeling I suspect many of you can relate with. And so it was important to cultivate prayer as my number one priority, so that it would be the foundation that would support and sustain every other aspect of my life and ministry as a priest. Now, one of the challenges that I've had to contend with in this area is that when things get really busy for me, I'm tempted to cut short my times of prayer in order to give me more time to do other things. When I was in the seminary, I would experience that temptation about 2/3 of the way through the semester, when all the big papers were due and when exam preparation was underway. In my third year in seminary, as that busy part of the semester approached, I began to think and pray about that struggle I had been experiencing, and I decided that I really wanted to make a change. I didn't want to pray less and work more. And I sensed as I took this to prayer that God was calling me to trust Him in a deeper way. And so that year I made a promise to God that not only would I not cut my prayer times short, but I would actually increase my prayer time as the semester got busier. So instead of praying less and working more, I would pray more and work less, which maybe seems a bit counterintuitive. But I placed my trust in God that He would reward that time of prayer. And so I can say honestly that I was true to that promise to God. And do you know what happened? I was more peaceful, more calm, more joyful, more well-rested than I had ever been in a busy time. And my grades were better than they had previously been as well. And so this is just one small example in my own life in which I became keenly aware that it is in giving that we receive. Whether we give to others or we give to God, we always get so much back in return. Our giving never goes unrewarded. This Sunday, we're bringing our homily series to a close. In giving, we receive. And we've been focusing on the spirituality of financial giving in the church. We speak often of service in the church, but we need to speak about money as well. Jesus spoke about money often in the Gospels. He understood that our relationship with our money, our wealth, our possessions plays a big role in our life, and it has a big impact on our life of faith and on our ministry in the church. In the very first week, Father Chichuku preached about gratitude, which coincided with Thanksgiving. As Christians, we must come to a deep recognition that all that we have has come from God. Our very life is a gift from God, and He invites us to be stewards of all that He has given to us. And so before we can think about giving, we must first think about being grateful. Our giving back to God is therefore an expression of our gratitude and love. On the second week of the series, I preached on how our financial gifts support the mission of the church. Along with our acts of service, our financial giving holds up the arms of the church like Aaron and Hur held up the arms of Moses, which led to the victory of the Israelites over their attackers. You hopefully have read the Stewardship of Treasure booklet by now, and you would have seen throughout that booklet so many examples of lives being touched and transformed through the ministries and outreach of our parish, all of which is made possible by the generosity of all of our parishioners. Last week, Father Chichuku preached about the different ways that we can give and the attitudes we should have when it comes to giving. He encouraged everyone to make use of pre-authorized remittance as their method of giving, and I want to encourage you to do the same. It's the method I've been using since I was in university. it always ensures that what I've decided to give to the church arrives consistently and in a timely way. But more importantly, Father Tshikuku preached about giving intentionally, generously, and joyfully. To give intentionally means that our giving isn't merely an afterthought. It isn't just grabbing whatever coins or bills we have lying around and throwing them into the basket. To give intentionally means that we've taken this matter to prayer. We've thought about it. We've dialogued with God. And that we've made a plan for how much we will give and how we will give it. To give generously is a challenge for each one of us because generosity isn't tied to a specific dollar amount. What is generous for you is not necessarily the same as the person sitting next to you. And so to give generously means to give enough that what we give is a sacrifice to God, to not simply give out of our excess. To give generously challenges us to trust God more deeply and to trust that in giving more, we will receive even more in return. And to give joyfully means that we're giving not out of duty, guilt, or obligation, but out of love. Our giving in the church should be like giving a gift to someone we love very much, a family member or a good friend. Today, as we bring this series to a close, we're inviting each of you to make a commitment to God by means of the commitment cards that were distributed last week and this week. To make a commitment in this way allows us to be intentional, to reflect with that commitment card on how and what you're going to give. It's a way to help you make that intentional and thoughtful and prayerful decision about how you will give to God and the church. Just as we budget for other expenses in our lives, we should give priority in our budget for what we give to God and His church. Today's gospel reminds us of the why. Why do we give? In our gospel, we encounter Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and he was rich. But despite the fact that he was rich, he was still missing something. He had so much, yet he was on the lookout for more. Would more money satisfy Zacchaeus? No. Zacchaeus was searching, and he likely wondered, could that man that is drawing these large crowds have the answer? Zacchaeus was so determined that he climbed a tree just to get a glimpse of Jesus. And despite the large crowds surrounding Jesus, Zacchaeus was not lost in the crowd. Jesus saw him and called up to him, "Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today." And later, Jesus said to him and to all present, "Today salvation has come to this house." The deepest desires of Zacchaeus' heart could only be satisfied by a relationship with Jesus. And suddenly, when he encounters Jesus, all of his money seems quite unimportant. Zacchaeus said to the Lord, "Look, half of my possessions I will give to the poor. And if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I will pay back 4 times as much." Zacchaeus needed Jesus, but he also needed community. As a chief tax collector, Zacchaeus wouldn't have had too many friends. He would have been looked at with fear and suspicion by many. And so Zacchaeus needed to be brought into this community of people that had Jesus as their center. Brothers and sisters, there's a little bit of Zacchaeus in each one of us. We all need Jesus, and we all need community. And while we all need money to live, there is no amount of money that can satisfy the deepest longings of our heart. We are blessed to be in this parish community. We are blessed to have heard God's call in our life. But there are many, many more people, just like Zacchaeus, who have not yet found Jesus. They're still out there searching, often not sure what they're searching for. You likely know people in this very situation. They are our family members, friends, neighbors, and colleagues. See, once we have been called by Jesus into this community, we form the body of Christ. And as members of Christ's body, it's our job to imitate Jesus and to call out to others, "Hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today. Today, salvation has come to this house." And this is part of what it means to be a parish where we come encounter Christ, joyfully share his love, and go make disciples. I'm going to invite you now, if you haven't already done so, to fill out your commitment card. When you're ready, I'm going to invite you to bring your commitment card forward and place it in this basket in front of the altar. It may seem like a strange thing, an unnecessary thing to do, but our commitment is ultimately a commitment to God. And to come forward and place this card in the basket is one of the ways we can make a concrete sign of our commitment, a commitment that has hopefully been made in prayerful reflection with God and with the members of your household. I'm going to invite our music ministry to lead us in the singing of a hymn so that this commitment can truly be an act of worship made in thanksgiving and praise of our God who has given to us so generously. So I'm going to invite them to begin the music now, and as you're ready, bring your card forward. And if you need more time, you can do it another time, but I want to invite you, if you're ready, to bring that commitment forward and to make it a prayerful act of worship to God. And so we'll do that now.